Okay, well, happy April 7th. I feel like I need to actually look at the calendar these days to know what date it is, because otherwise I have no idea. So welcome all you guys, everyone. Thank you guys for jumping on. Kristen and I were gonna have a fun discussion today about routines and how those have shifted. So we'll get into that in a minute, and we want to. We actually have a little exercise we're going to do with you guys. So if you don't have pen and paper, grab that and
Hi, Kelly.
Have that ready. And then we thought we would start. Kristen's actually gonna just lead us through a quick opening message that I think is really important for what we're going through right now.
Yes. So there has been the Ho'oponopono Hawaiian prayer has been coming up. Lisa knows because she was on the call this morning. So Steve Little and Amber Trueblood had walked us through this morning. But, this is an old prayer or a practice more than anything. I'm sure you guys have all heard of it too. And it is, it's just, so we're basing it on the premise of that. But we, Addie and I had just come up with 4 statements. So it's along that same theme. Very simple. These statements, I think we did all I am statements. Yes, we did all I am statements just so we can all take our power back, because it feels really powerless right now in a lot of ways. And it feels like there's a lot of things that we can't do. And we all feel out of control in some way because it's the control of COVID, and all the people in power or whatever. So this is a way to kind of bring it back into our own power. And you can use this right in the moment. You can use this all day. You can say it to yourself all day. And we're just going to start it off just to kind of ground ourselves into this space and be able to assume these statements for ourselves. So the 4 statements are: I am okay, I am strong, I am connected, I have trust, and then I am okay. So we do repeat the I am okay twice. And for right now, just go ahead and get grounded. And so just close your eyes. We're just going to come into the space together. If you can have your feet on the floor, that's nice to get grounded. And then just take a few deep breaths. You can close your eyes. And just take another full body breath without forcing it, but just allowing yourself to tune back into your breath. When you've gotten grounded, just go ahead and open your eyes. And it actually is really nice to say these together out loud. So unmute yourself. And we're just going to repeat this twice together out loud. And so I am okay, I am strong, I am connected, I have trust, I am okay. Okay, so let's begin. I am okay. I am strong. I am connected. I have trust.
I have trust.
I am okay. I am okay.
I am okay.
I am strong.
I am strong.
I am connected.
I am connected.
I have trust.
I have trust.
I am okay.
I am okay.
Okay. Okay. Addie, take it away.
Okay, thank you. I feel better already, like just doing that. Like it really Yeah, it's great. I feel way more grounded. And I love the reminder to always put my feet on the ground because I always have my legs crossed. Okay, so back to this discussion about routines, right? So I know this is something Kristen and I have been chatting about because one of the things that I think we're all really struggling with is this shift into having certain routines and being able to take care of ourselves in certain ways, and then having that totally disrupted because we're at home. And there's just a lot of different, there's just a lot of change in general and a lot of restriction. And so that translates in lots of different ways for us. So we want to just kind of work through some of that, some of these emotions that we have around that. So if you have your paper and pen or pencil, I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and I want you to write down the answers. And then after we do that, Chris and I are going to share our answers to these questions and then open it up to you guys. So the first question is, what do you find challenging about your current routine right now? And then when you finish with that one, the second question is, what was part of your self-care routine or just part of your routine in general before we shifted into quarantine mode that you can't do now and that's feeling really hard? So what were you doing before that you can't do right now and that is a challenge for you? And then the third question is, have you been able to adopt new routines to help you cope? And if so, what are those routines? Okay, so I'll go ahead and just share a couple of my challenges and coping strategies, and then Kristen will share, and then we'll open it up to you guys, because I think talking through this is really helpful, and we can really support each other and learn from each other through all of this. So what do you find challenging about your current routine right now? Well, I'm guessing that there will probably be some similarities and overlap in some of our answers to these questions. I would say probably the biggest for me is not being able to get out and do some of the exercise activities that I was doing before. In the beginning of the year, I started getting back into dance classes after a very long time of not doing them. And that was really motivating me, and it was giving me lots of new energy and a fun new way to connect, and like a new skill. And so it's been really challenging to like kind of start this new thing in the beginning of the year and really have a goal around it, and having it really fill me up in a way that now is a little bit harder because I can't do it physically in person. So that is one of the things that has been really hard. And then, yeah, I don't know. It's been interesting to just not have anywhere to go. And so like, even just the motivation of like setting an alarm and getting up and just kind of like getting ready for the day and getting out, not having that, I feel like I've been falling into a little bit of paralysis and apathy, just to get anything done. So those have been my challenges. And then some of the other self-care routine stuff that I can't do now, that's also really hard, is, going to yoga class, things where like just being in this collective space with the human connection, that, I can still do somewhat online, but it just it's not quite the same. So those are the things that I have really been struggling with. But in terms of adopting new routines, I have been trying some of the online classes and doing some of that just to help. So that has been really great. I also started drinking coffee for the first time in 15 years, as kind of a new coping tool, because before, I have to be careful. I get like real jittery with coffee, but I've actually found a couple like Bulletproof and this Four Sigmatic mushroom blend that actually give me like some of the alertness, so I can actually like start my day and sit down and work at the computer and kind of get into a groove, that I was really struggling to be able to focus, just because I'm here. I don't know what time it is. I don't know what day it is. Like everything's kind of blurring together. So that has been just some things that I have been trying, is experimenting with a little bit of coffee. And then, just trying to find these other outlets and making myself like actually scheduling in some exercise time, even if it's just like 15 or 20 minutes of like jump rope or something, to get my heart rate up and to just move, because it's real easy for me to just get complacent about that stuff. So those are a couple of things that I have been doing, just more kind of on like the physical well-being. And then we can talk also as we hear from you guys about some of the other like mental health support stuff. But Kristen, do you want to share?
Sure. That's so funny because I started drinking a little coffee too. I don't know what that is. It's same thing. I cannot do coffee. So that is so funny that we're on that same page. For me, I think the biggest struggle that's coming to mind right now is just like the focus. I think it's, when you have your children home, and then also in general, this underlying thing that is pulling us all away. I mean, we want to feel good and we're thriving in a lot of ways. And there's so much amazingness that's coming out of this in a good way. But I mean, let's face it, underlying it, it's, this is heavy, like what's out there in the world. And so I just like feel really good, inspired, creative. But then I also have that little thing of just like, just a little bit of a weight, that internal weight that's on my spirit. So I think that's also not allowing me to focus. And then there's the actual basic, the logistically thing where, I have to homeschool my daughter and I'm just distracted by her all day and helping her. So that's a struggle. And then that human connection, this Zoom has been a wonderful technology, but now even when you're outside and then you're wearing the mask, like it just feels like it's like a little bit of less of a connection that you can get with people. And so I've been, of course, missing that more, just that human connection of feeling freer and lighter when you do go out and connect outside. Now it feels a little heavier just because, we're wearing the masks and stuff. And then
my new routine is, this allowing space. I think I'm such a doer, and I'm always doing and moving and going and like creating, and I'm always making things happen. Well, now it's like this allowing space and allowing, I don't know, it's just an allowance that is different in a good way. And so that's been nice. And then all this meditation really amped up my meditation practice. And so that's been, I think, also contributing to a little more sense of a calm and grounded. And then those simple pleasures, really the simple pleasures of, okay, we're going to do a little Easter egg hunt in the yard, so I can just take as many hours as I want to get those eggs ready and filled. It's just, there's something really nice about just really these slowing down things and making everything just slower. And really truly connecting with people. I think we all feel like we have a little more time to, call your family member or an old friend. I've reached out to old people and just had conversations with them on the phone, and we haven't talked in, 10 years with someone. And we just like instantly connected, because I think we're all craving that connection. So just to be able to go deep right with someone in a conversation, you hadn't talked to them in 10 years. And so those are the good self-care things that are going. And then we want to really hear from you guys. If you're uncomfortable speaking, you can always chat it, but we wanted this day to be a little bit more about sharing and hearing giving you guys the time and space to share too. So whoever would like to share next, I'll go ahead and mute myself.
Bridget. Oh wait, let's see.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I'm like to just repeat what both of you just said. All those things are the same for me too. The routine, I feel like for us, the hardest part has been my circadian rhythm is a little messed up. We're going to bed way later. So we're laying in bed, like, for example, I just got out of bed literally 5 minutes before this call, which is why I was like so unprepared and like moving around the first 15 minutes, getting comfortable and getting everything. Haven't eaten yet, like just so off any kind of routine. And I think it's partly too because the kids are on spring break. So we're not doing any schoolwork right now either. It's raining today. Like, it's just, there's like no routine. There's nothing. So that's been a little hard, but at the same time, like you said, Kristen, like nice, because like I don't have to really, I'm not pressed for time for anything. So it's kind of like being on vacation where you're kind of like stuck in your cabin or something like that. But that's what's been challenging. And then prior to all this, I swam like 5 times a week, probably surfed, was kind of starting to surf more again, like once a week. Spent a lot of time with friends, and I also had a lot more alone time. I'm struggling to find any alone time, maybe 1 hour a week. I feel like lately I'm getting it. It's just really hard. And then my new routines, staying in bed a lot longer, which is nice. I also look at that as a nice thing because I'm just, listening to my body, taking it slow. Like Kristen and Addie both, I feel like I'm always go, 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 go. So this has just slowed me down, and I'm appreciating that and loving that part of it. I've done so much more meditation. All these Zoom calls are amazing. Walking or biking. And what's really helped us, we just started it yesterday, but I think it's going to be a wonderful thing, is our family game nights. So we did Pictionary last night, and I think we're going to make that a thing like every day at like 4:30ish, maybe 5. We'll do like a family game night or a movie. And there we go. And the kids really loved it so much, and they were so well behaved after, and I loved it, and I think Dylan loved it. And then we go into dinner, and so that's like a little routine-ish. And I think when school like starts again, then it'll help. Like we'll have like a school hours and stuff like that. Yeah.
I love that. We started that family game night too, which is so great. That's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Who else would like to share?
I'll go next.
So, well, I want to reiterate, I mean, I'm with you guys all in the same thing. In terms of exercise, I miss hugs. I'm a hugger, okay? Social distancing is really hard for me. So I miss that human touch. And that's, I'm very much an extrovert, but I'm really, really, Bridget, I love what you said, is I'm just allowing myself and not putting that pressure on myself to try to make something of it other than just enjoy it. Like we couldn't have predicted a pandemic and that we would all be inside, that we would have to allow ourselves to sleep in as much as we want to sleep, allow ourselves to be gentle if we're not feeling like we need to get a bunch of stuff done. Says who? When? We just have to be inside. Like, those are the rules. And realizing these old tapes that we have in our mind that we need to be living up to, and we really don't. I mean, the main guidelines is to stay in and stay safe. So I'm just allowing myself and observing how my mind, when it goes into that, very type A, rigid type of things, and also enjoying family dinners, because my kids usually have so many sports and stuff that we rarely all sit together at the table. And I grew up on a farm in Iowa where our life was very rigid, and at 6 o'clock we all sat down for dinner and we had game nights and stuff, but we weren't in a bunch of sports. We weren't running around. So it's literally, life has stopped, and really appreciating, and even in the uncomfortability of like, oh, I need to be up and I need to be doing something, just observing myself and allowing myself to cry. And I feel very sad for the world. I feel very sad that people are dying, every day people are dying alone. Like, that burden is in my heart, and I feel that. And yet, and Kristen knows, we did this meditation last week with this woman, and it was very moving to know that everything is in divine order. People have signed up for this at this time, at this place, their journey here. And I can still have the feelings of feeling sad, but then just being able to allow that go and not, have it take me down the whole day. So I may have a moment where I do feel sad, and my kids see it, I'm trying to hold it together for the kids. And, something was said today, and I thought it was a really great comment where, we're trying to homeschool and we're trying to do all this stuff. And someone said, at the end of this pandemic, what our family's going to remember, and these kids, is what our environment felt like. So, meaning, is our home kind? Is it calm? Is it loving? Not, did we get all our distant learning done? Are we doing this? No, like, really, like, just, take a deep breath and, have that experience, because, school's still going to be there. Life is still going to go on. Bills, we're still going to have to get paid at the end of this. But how can we process it through, and how can we be authentic in the process, and, thinking of others that can't get out to get groceries, or, kind of keeping in that spirit. So anyway, thank you. Thank you, Addie and Kristen, for being here and allowing this platform to share. Thank you. No, that was awesome. Let's see, Kelly or Kim or Joe. Joe's unmuted. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Joe.
I'll speak. So thank you. So everything that everybody said has touched on aspects of what I've been feeling also. What do I find challenging about my current routine is I don't have a routine. It's like it's out the door. My husband's working from home, so that's completely changed routines. I was starting a business with an actual physical place, and after 1 week, that's disappeared. My daughter was going to school and working. She's now online schooling, and her job is now not. So just having 3 people with very different ways of dealing with things and trying to come up with a routine together has been challenging. And so it's starting to fall into place, I guess. I too am kind of an in-person hugger, you know, like in face-to-face. And so the technology aspect for me is huge. And I feel like in regards to, did I get it on Facebook? I probably did. I just don't know because I'm not I've got, you know, 2 or 3 different emails to check now, learning Zoom, exploring what's out there on Zoom, going through Facebook and Messenger. So I'm feeling very inundated now with the whole information technology and the technologies. And I like to joke now that this is not a prominent, it's a recessive gene, maybe because of age, I don't know. I can relate to my dad who had the hardest time learning just how to answer the first line of answering machines. So I have deep compassion for people who, you know, things are moving to technology, which is wonderful. Absolutely, it's kept me alive. And for a lot of people, I think that's a bit of a challenge also. So that's probably that, and the loss of connection. My routine before was, you know, I had a plan, I'd go to work, you know, there was kind of a routine. So, and I think one of the biggest things now is the ability to group outings. So just going to the store, it's huge now. You have to do the timing, the lines, just taking that into account. And so that's really made just going out to go to the store more challenging. And at each point when I ventured out, you know, first it was the distancing and the tape, and then it was certain hours, and now people are showing up with masks and gloves and all this. So it's deeper and deeper reminders of how careful we have to be, but also being balanced in it, to find balance that, okay, most people are healthy, most people are recovering, and we hear bombarding about how challenging it is. And so that's been kind of an eye-opener, each venturing out. The other hard part for me to kind of come to terms with is my whole career, like 40 some odd years, has been in healthcare. And it's always been, you just go in and share and do and be there for people. And so, you know, at 67, I'm not jumping back into the hospital now. I was evolving into my encore career, which is the Jitsu and coaching and stuff. And so I feel that tug. And having worked ER for many, many years, just the compassion of what people are going with, I almost can't let myself go there because it really does bring up how traumatic. And I think a lot of healthcare people suffer from post-traumatic stress, and it's not ever talked about. And this just brings it up on other whole levels. And anyway, it's really intense from that standpoint. So my new routines have been kind of, I plan like 5 things I want to accomplish a day. One is exercise or physically. One is, you know, ADLs, what do I need to do for going to the store, keeping the house clean and that kind of stuff. One is the connection part, so having time to connect with people who are meaningful to me. And then that's been challenging because everybody's on their own little different schedules and kids are home now. So even the routine times that we used to connect for a lot of people have shifted. Self-care has really taken, you know, a little Epsom bath with music and listening to something, going for the walk. I want to make a quilt or something and journaling. So just things like that are helping me to kind of reground because I'm feeling kind of scattered right now. And part of that's the ADD and part of it's the loss of routine and just knowing what to count on. We've had a couple of family members who've lost 2 parents and a grandmother in a couple of months. And so just the normal being able to reach out and attend funerals and all that stuff has just completely changed. So I don't know, I guess I'm feeling a lot on a really deep level. And I'm also feeling really hopeful because it does give us this time to allow just to be, which is so important rather than always doing. So I'm holding my fingers a lot. This efforting and trying to is getting held. The grief finger is getting held quite a bit. It is frustrating to not have our normal routines. That undercurrent of heaviness is kind of an element of fear, just not knowing what to expect. It's unsettling. And I think as humans, we like to feel settled and somewhat in control. And then just, again, the worry about, is everybody else okay? That's me as a woman. That's me as a nurse. I take care of everybody else before myself. And so that pattern, I guess, looking at different patterns and seeking to be more grounded in patterns and letting go of patterns. And, it's like what you were talking about, people, there is divine order. And so prayer has become a big practice also. So anyway, I know this is kind of a release, so thank you, because I don't get to talk about this kind of stuff too often with people. So this is a wonderful group and platform to allow this kind of interactions and support from each other. And I love that a lot of us don't know each other, and we can still come together and start developing connections, which is huge. So thank you for listening.
Hugs.
Thank you for sharing all that. That was amazing. I have goosebumps. And I think that you touched on so many emotions that all of us are feeling. Everything, and thank you for letting out some of your emotion around, being in the healthcare industry for so many years and, feeling for what the people that are in those positions right now are going for. I know we did spend some time on that last week for those that were on, and for those that weren't, we really, we did some prayer and meditation for our people on the front lines. So I think that's something that we really have to keep sending our love to all of those people. But yeah, I think everything that you're feeling is so relatable. And so thank you for sharing all that, because I think we can all really resonate with that right now. Kelly or Kim, you're unmuted. Let's hear from you, babe.
Yeah, I can. I'm happy to share. Joanne, thank you. That was so beautiful. And you're right. I have no idea who you are, and it just simply didn't matter. I think one of the things that brings tears of joy to my eyes during this time is watching people experience true empathy. It is such a beautiful thing to witness and watch, and thinking that is something that our children are learning as a generation right now. That kind of, anyways, for me, I guess one of the biggest challenges is just what I would describe as the swing. Okay, so I'm here 1 minute, I'm here, I'm back over here. That can happen day to day, hour to hour, minute to minute. So just managing the swing and just trying to establish some sort of balance. I think as the mom, I feel responsible for providing structure and balance for everybody else, let alone, myself. So trying to kind of let everybody find their own way through and figure their own way through this has been a little bit challenging for me. I have done, from a self-care perspective, I really try to stay grounded in my morning routine. It's very important to me. My daily exercise is tremendously important to me. I've shifted it a little so I can go outside versus spending more time inside. And I'm trying to be truly present in all of the moments. I think finding groups and like this and others that deliver positivity, I guess, because it's a choice for me right now. It's just a choice every day to choose the joy. Like this is a week that we were supposed to be on spring break as a family. So there's a lot of people around here that are super disappointed, but we brought our beach chairs outside and sat in the sun. We didn't have our toes in the sand. They were in the grass, but just trying to make the most of it. But it is an effort, and it's a choice. I've also started doing themed dinners Like, we have time to figure out what you would wear to an 80s dinner and walking around the house and trying to find the costumes and the outfits. Done a red carpet dinner where everybody gets dressed up. We literally rolled out a red towel, set the dining room table, just some fun experiences that you can have together as a family. I've loved watching my girls truly bond as siblings, which we're always running in so many different directions. So again, I think every day, just that practice of gratitude and journaling and gratitude and seeking joy, all of those types of routines have really helped kind of get through. But I'm also trying to not just make everything a bed of roses, and I think it's important. So Joanne, thank you so much for sharing the other side of that perspective with me today. I appreciate that. So thank you, guys.
That theme dinner nights is genius. I love that, Kim. That's so great. I got to figure out how to do that with my kiddos. I'm sure we could bust out all the costumes. That's amazing. Kelly, do you feel like you want to share?
Sure, be glad to. Yeah, I guess of all the things that are happening, the hardest is when I hear a relative has it, or I hear a friend is in the hospital with a respirator on, and so that has hit me hard as of yesterday. And today things are better inside of me, and I think what it is I'm becoming more and more resourced every day. So that's a good thing. And like everyone I think is saying, this is one of those resources that we're on right now. So I was just kind of making a list of what I've added to my life, and a lot of mindfulness type things to elevate our frequency. Involved, like this morning, I did a vision board by someone who teaches feng shui, and putting everything in certain, what if I have it, in certain quadrants. Like, she gives us a map of where to put things for our family and love and everything in certain colors, and then we're making that out. Making sure I have exercise. Both Joe and I have a friend who's just starting an online Hannah Somatics exercise class. So, and I have yet to go on Kristen's yoga, which I look forward to. So, that's it.
Thank you, Kelly. That's awesome. That feng shui vision board thing sounds amazing. I would love to do something like that. So if your friend is posting something like that, yeah, that would be amazing.
Or can you share that with us, even if it's just a screenshot, like a screenshot from your phone? I mean, if you have materials where if that teacher is okay with you sharing materials, you know, if you don't mind sharing with us, or even just a screenshot of what that was, then you could email it to us and we could put it on the Facebook group for all of us to do. If they're okay with that, if who's ever teaching you that, we would love that. Yeah,
I don't know her well, but we'll be following up in a week. So I'll talk to her about that. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, that would be amazing. And then Kim just also put in the chat, making a joy list is something that she's also going to do, and sitting and feeling through creating that list and then turning it to it in times when not feeling the joy. I think that's a really awesome idea. And I've seen some really creative and cute, clever ideas around this, where even having a jar, Lisa, maybe, did you tell me you guys were doing this? Where you can even like have everyone in the family like put their, you know, things that make them feel joy, or even, you know, little wish lists. And then maybe even it's once a week, you're pulling something new out. So things like that are great, you know, but I love that idea of a joy list. And, you know, it was interesting last night at like 10:30, I'm the same, Bridget, like I have no, my schedule, like my sleep schedule, everything is so completely off the norm right now. And I'm kind of embracing it. But like last night I was just sitting there, like putting Easter eggs together And like just doing those little things where like normally it would be something I would be rushing to do like probably the day before, and I knew that I could like run out and get whatever I needed. And so it's like having this mindfulness and preparation, like planning ahead, because now we have the time and we kind of are forced to think through it because we also can't get access to the things that in the same way. And so, yeah, like just finding the joys and all of that stuff has been, I don't know, for me, really nice to just to do it and not feel rushed through any of it. And then, yeah, like doing all of these creative things and just turning into all of that, while at the same time, like recognizing that there's going to still be a lot of hard moments. And then, you know, you get news of a family member or a friend or someone else that, you know, is having hardship, whether it's related to COVID-19 illness or something else. I mean, we've gotten news in the last few days about other things that are happening to people not related, but like really big life stuff. And then just like thinking about how they're processing all of that in this time where like you can't go do the hugs and you know, get together in the same way. So yeah, I appreciate you guys all being
I loved the when Kim said managing the swing.
yes,
You know, like I think that's how you said it, managing the swing. And like that is so important because it's not trying to cover up these feelings, these real feelings that, you know, that we're healing and we're all on one level feeling things. So it's not about covering them up. It is about managing the swing. It's going to be down and that's okay. And like Lisa was saying, you know, just allowing your children to see that and that is life, you know, so we're not covering up things, we're managing the swings. So I love that phrase. I wanted to like acknowledge that and I'm going to remember that because
I actually drew a picture of that when you were talking through it. And this is my brain working. I'm like, ooh, how do I make a graphic of that and show our pendulum like of emotions? Because I agree, that was like the perfect metaphor for what happens, you know, throughout the day. So yeah, I totally agree, Kristen. I was like, yes, the swing, that is it. That is like what happens.
That's why it's so crucial for us to share. And you know, Joe like crying today. I cried on this like meditation thing yesterday, just welled up. You know, I think we're all, if it's not happening to you now, it's going to happen to you later, and it's going to happen to you worse if you don't let it happen now. You know, you got to manage those swings. Okay, so do you want me to do the mental rehearsal? Did you want to close up anything or see if anybody wants?
I think we can, you know, if anyone else has other thoughts that they want to share, you know, we can do that for the next 5 minutes and then move into that. But one thing that came to my mind as I was listening to all of you, because there's so many beautiful like epiphanies happening, you know, despite all the hardships that we're all facing. And so one of the things I just was sort of thinking through that I'm just going to put out there as kind of a challenge is that all of these things, that the positive things that you shared that you're allowing yourself to do, and I'm going to do this too, is make a list of those things, right? So that when this phase ends and we're shifting back into our busier pace and all of these things and our, you know, go lifestyle, that's just kind of part of our society, to have this like sacred list. And so when you start feeling overwhelmed with the busyness and the pace and everything, when we resume that again, to be able to have these things that you can come back to, so that you can remember it and build those practices back in when you need it for your own care. I mean, one of the things that I also realized this morning I had my alarm set for like 6:30. I was like, oh, I'm still going to get up. I'm going to get all these things done before the kids are up. And then I hit my alarm, and then that was it. I didn't get up again until 8. And it made me realize, how long have I been forcing myself to work against the clock, to get up, to do all these things, to get all these things done, and that my body is exhausted all the time. And I have a lot of tools that help energize myself naturally and take care of my immune system and do all of these things so I can keep up with that pace. But I realize, like, I'm tired, you know, my husband is exhausted. Like, we both are like, wow, it's amazing how much we can sleep now, because that's how sleep deprived we are. So anyways, those are just some of the things I want to share. And like, I'm challenging myself to do the same thing. But I do think that all of these things that we're discovering that are actually things that we really needed, right? Like appreciating our families and having the game nights and spending this really quality time, all of these things that are giving you those joys, you know, making that joy list so that it's not just about getting through this, but it's about getting through when we go back. And you're going to start to feel overwhelmed, and it's going to be like, oh my God, I want to slow down again. So just keeping all of that, some mindfulness around all of that, I think will be helpful for the transition time, because we're going to have a whole new set of challenges once this lifts, right? So anyways, that I just want to share, that was what was coming up for me. So now we're going to spend the rest of our time today with this amazing exercise that Kristen's going to lead us through. So I'll hand it over to you.
Okay. Yes. So thank you guys again. We really, really respect, honor, value, are grateful that you guys do show up, and we're all showing up for each other in this wholehearted way. Strangers for the most part, you know, and so we just like such a heartfelt hug, big air hugs, kisses, because it's been amazing. So this is a great technique. This is called mental rehearsal. And you probably all have already heard it in some form or fashion. Successful athletes do this before they play. It's a regular technique by many successful people. But we thought it was appropriate today because it's something that we all can tap into anytime. And like some of us have touched on, you know, we do have these choices and this control for how we are choosing to feel, and to kind of take control. I keep saying control. I don't really like that word. I don't know why I'm saying that today, but of our emotions, and be able to kind of have this, you know, give ourselves these, this power to be able to change how we're feeling, or to change our mindset. And so this mental rehearsal is a tool. And like athletes will go use it because in their mind, they've already played the game that they're about to go play. They've already won it. In their mind, they've completely rehearsed how it went, what they did, how they've performed. And then 99.9% of the time, they do exactly what they did in their mind. And there's even been studies done where people they play piano for, like, in reality they're playing, and then they're fake playing. Well, their mind is doing the same exact thing, the fake playing, as it is the real playing. So you don't even have to really go out and do the thing. By you visualizing that you're doing it perfectly, you are doing it. And so what I want you to do today, it can be, you can have a picture in your mind, something as simple of these daily routines, making your daily routine better, having that fun themed family dinner. It could be something as small as that, or it could even be something that is a little bit bigger, like you have a huge presentation at work. I mean, life is still going on, or you have this big, you want the successful Jinshin Jitsu career and thriving clients, and, you know, making this, like go through that in your day. It could be as far out time-wise, or it could be what you're doing today. So just take a moment to choose anything that first comes to your mind. And so a couple of those examples I gave were having the fun family themed dinner, or having a successful, thriving practice, nailing it on a presentation at work, or it could be having fun sleeping in your bed, you know, with your with your partner. I mean, it does not matter. So just kind of have that in your mind. And I'll just give you guys, you know, another few seconds to recall what popped in. And then once you've chosen, and if anything that comes up here is fine too. So if something kind of switches, the idea is to just go with it and then really embody it. So go ahead and close your eyes again. And same thing, starting to get a little grounded. It does feel good to have your feet on the ground, but whatever makes you feel in this space in your body right now. And you're going to start to really plug in to those feelings. So placing yourself in this experience that you want to have and succeed at and thrive at. And experiencing, stepping into that version of yourself. So how does your body feel when you're doing this? And looking at yourself from this perspective. So feeling the heartbeat of that, of you and that person that is you doing this. And you're looking out, and what do you see? So taking in all the sensory sensations of what you see, what space you're in, what does it look like? Are you inside or outside? With as much detail as you can. What are the smells? So you are in that exact environment and you are doing that thing. And continue to inhale and feeling confident. So what does your body look like? How are you standing or sitting? Or if it's doing something active, what is it? What are you doing and how is your body? Using this space and time to really allow yourself to succeed. Allow yourself to thrive. Allow yourself to embody any of the characteristics that are going to make this be the most successful experience. So getting into the little nuances of what that is, what those emotions are, what those characteristics are needed, and then embodying them completely. There's no limitations. You have the safety of your mind and your body and this space, and nobody can stop you. And why would they want to? They don't need to. And so letting go of all of that and fully embracing that best version of yourself, 100% version of yourself. Taking another minute to just draw in all the sensations and seeing yourself doing this. Before we lift out of this person and come back, what would the future version of yourself who's already doing this, what advice would they give to you, the current version? So let any word or phrase pop in of this future version doing it. What is their advice for you? Just take one more deep breath, letting all of this soak in. And a full exhale. And then you can just gently kind of wiggle your shoulders, start to come back into this space, slowly opening your eyes. And we're at 12 o'clock. We want to value everybody's time. But if there is anybody that just kind of wants to share that experience, you are free to share. And if not, that's okay too.
That was amazing. I'm going to go ahead and actually stop recording.